Tom Holland recently talked about some of his favorite moments from the history of Spider-Man on film. And when asked about his favorite scene in The Amazing Spider-Man, he has one specific scene that he feels is the best so far, but he feels like it's almost something that nobody talks about or thinks about because it almost felt like it didn't belong in the film. So let's talk about the skateboarding scene from The Amazing Spider-Man. So once again, this comes at us from Tobey Maguire, who was talking about The Amazing Spider-Man and some of the things he likes in it outside of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. And he says that there's one specific scene that makes this film stick apart, and I think it's a scene that many of us have also talked about as well. And he said it's those scenes where he's skateboarding. And he says it's just so different and such a far cry away from Peter Parker that you're used to, that it's fresh and it's exciting, and that they step away from it for a bit to give you that sequence, to just enjoy that moment with Peter. And he says he thought that that scene was very fun, very different, establishes a different Peter Parker, and puts a very interesting spin on his version of Spider-Man. And that's why it's his favorite scene, because it's not like anything that you've seen in the MCU trilogy or the Raimi trilogy. And yeah, he's right. I think many of us have talked about that scene and how it's just different and how it comes off as something almost from a different film and very much of the era. Like, we know what they were going for with the whole angsty, emo-ish teenager and everything. Like, that's been discussed plenty of times. So it'll be interesting to see if we ever go back to the Amazing Spider-Man universe full-time, or cameos or whatever, what they could do by aging Andrew Garfield up, and how has things changed, and also how do they reflect back on his teenage years? Because remember, a lot of stuff that you do back then, you still kind of keep close to your chest, right? Like video games you played or music, it's still very much informative to you. So it would be interesting to just see if that actually led anywhere, because it was a genuinely good scene, in my opinion.